Wakizashi's Teahouse.
Hey, konnichiwa, minasan. It's Gray from Wakizashi's Teahouse over in Japan. How you doing? Are you good? Are you genki? Is there anybody out there? That's good. Good to see you. Shout out to, we got Nosferatu in the chat. Great to see you, brother. And Woopah Troopah. No way. Woopah's here. Great. Thanks so much for joining me. I just ended my stream. I put your link in the chat for people to come by. Oh, mate, I appreciate that. Yeah, so how's everyone doing? Are you enjoying your Friday night? Saturday morning, is it over there? It's Saturday lunchtime here. It's 1 p.m. and I was on a stream with a good friend, OBG70. We're talking about the Shannara Chronicles. That was pretty cool. Then I had to drop out early to start this, but I've been wanting to talk about the Midnight Diner, which in Japanese is called Shinya Shokudo. Midnight Diner, it's a fantastic series. It's real like food for the soul. As I say, like I've heard people say chicken soup for the soul. Maybe a little bit overly sentimental at times, but hey, there's nothing wrong with that, especially in these crazy times. I've been blown away by it. Now let me just have a quick look through the chat. No way, how you doing? Nay's here, good morning, nice to see you. And how are you? Long time no see. Are you good? Are you genki? I hope so. Thanks for dropping in. Oh no, hey, Norinrad82. I don't know if you're from Woopah Troopah stream, but thanks for popping in. That's great. And as Nosradu says, nay, you sexy European gigolo. How do you know? Just saying. Friday night still for me, says Woopah. Having a good time. It was a very long week. Mate, me too. It's been long. It's been hot, sticky, humid, crazy. I mean, I guess you've all heard that mental news from Japan. I'm not going to talk about it on the stream, but yeah, we were all pretty shocked over here. Still trying to make sense of it, but anyway, this is going to be a positive stream because, hey, you're here with Wakizashi in the tea house, and I love to focus on positive. So let me just share a photo so you know what I'm talking about. Has anybody out there heard of or seen Midnight Diner? Now, there is a Netflix, there's like, how many? There's 5 seasons. There's 3 seasons just called Midnight Diner, okay? And then there's 2 new seasons were made by Netflix, which is called Midnight Diner Tokyo Stories. Are you confused yet? So totally 5 seasons. So it's easy to start on season 4 by mistake if you go for the latest one from Netflix. If you can, try and find the original. The first season was out in 2009, so it's going back. And it was broadcast on, regular Japanese TV for the first 3 seasons. I think they even put it on at midnight, because Mrs. Wakizashi said that she'd seen a few, like she just like popped in, she's put the TV on late at night and found it by mistake almost. Very short seasons, only I think 10 episodes each, and they're only half an hour, like with credits of about 20-25 minutes. It has English subtitles, but there's no English dub, so just warning you. But it's great to hear the original Japanese. I mean, with me living in Japan, I much prefer that. But where are we? What was I doing? Share screen, Gray. Here we go. Let's share one of the photos. So, yeah, as you can see, it's all in Japanese, but this guy, he's the master. He's the owner of a tiny little kind of restaurant stroke bar in Shinjuku in Tokyo. It's just called Meishiya, which is like diner. It just means diner or restaurant. Now, izakaya is basically a Japanese version of a pub, where you can eat and you can get drinks. I'm going to read a little bit from the wiki, so I'll give you a bit of an introduction. Now, this actually started as a manga. It was, what was it called? When was it? It was a manga by somebody called Yaro Abe. There's the name at the moment. It focuses on a late-night diner called Meishiya in the Shinjuku district of Tokyo. Its mysterious, scarred chef and owner is known only as Master. And it talks about like the lives of his customers. It's basically slice of life drama, but it's got a real focus on emotional stories, really pulling those heartstrings, switching on the waterworks on your eyes. Now, as you know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I'm a bit of an old softie these days. I found that as I got older, I tend to get moved more by emotional TV. And the Japanese, they are masters at it. They are masters sometimes. I tell you, I don't know how they do it, but yeah. So if you don't like too much smolch or sentimentality, maybe it won't be for you. But I tell you what, for a short, like, kind of comedy drama series, it really does show a realistic, slice of life side of Japan. Really surprising. I think you should watch it because this is what Japan's like. Really is. I know it's fiction, it's drama, it's meant to be funny, it's meant to be exaggerated, but I really enjoy it. Okay, and going back to the owner, as you can see on the photo, he's only called Master. Now that's quite common in Japan when you go to bars or restaurants, especially smaller places. They just call like the owner or the main person, just call them Master. So it's not like, the Master. If anyone remembers that, there was a really old Lee Van Cleef starring ninja-style TV series just called The Master. I used to watch that back in the 80s during the martial arts and ninja boom. I'm from the UK, by the way, not America. You can probably tell by the accent, but yeah, so he's not a master, like he's not, a master swordsman or a master chef. He's just like a guy with a small restaurant in Japan. Now let me read some of this storyline. This is how it opens, and it's got the same intro every episode. It basically says, this is him narrating it. When people finish their day and hurry home, my day starts. My diner is open from midnight to 7 in the morning. They call it Midnight Diner. That's all I have on my menu, but I make whatever customers request, as long as I have the ingredients for it. That's my policy. Do I even have customers? More than you would expect. And that's how it opens, and it shows him. He's got a very, very limited menu. He has on the wall is like one dish. It's a kind of pork stew, and 3 alcoholic drinks. There's beer, there's sake, and there's shochu, which is the Korean liqueur shochu. It's a little bit like sake, but their version of that. So, but he will cook anything for you if he has the ingredients handy. It's so cool. And what I've noticed with it is people tend to ask for like comfort food. It's food that reminds them of something in the past. Maybe it was food when they were growing up, food from the childhood, food that a parent or a loved one, like a brother or sister, someone used to make for them. And they use this word a lot in the series, like, natsukashi na. It's like a nostalgia, a nostalgic feeling. This taste, this dish, makes me feel nostalgic for the old days, that kind of thing. But I'm loving it, as someone who likes to watch positive things, focus on positivity. It's great. Now, I've even managed to get my old friend Nosferatu interested in it. Believe it or not, he's been watching as well. And I think he was saying that he started watching the Netflix version, which is there are two recent seasons, like I think from maybe 2019 and maybe 2021, something like that. So season 4 and 5, I mean, you can start there. You can still understand it really well, but I recommend if you can, try and watch it from the beginning. Watch the original series, the 2009 one, just called Midnight Diner. Okay, where are we? So the master, the main character of the show, is the owner, chef and bartender who runs this diner. While he has a very limited menu, consisting only of tonjiru, this is it, that's that kind of pork stew, tonjiru, sake, beer and shochu, he always offers to produce any dish that a customer may want, as long as he has the ingredients on hand. But Master refuses to cook any dishes that are beyond his skills or overly complicated. Sometimes customers contribute the ingredients, particularly if they're out of the ordinary or a very specific craving. So, for example, one of the episodes you see one of the customers brings like a little loaf of thick sliced white bread. Then the customer wants him to make like egg salad or egg sandwich. It's really cool. So they bring the bread and he's got the ingredients and he prepares it and he'll make it. Okay, where are we? Sometimes got that there. The diner is frequented by a range of customers from salarymen to yakuza, there you go, that's for you, Nos, and prostitutes, all of whom generally get along quite well. Only occasionally is there conflict between the characters while inside the diner. And it goes on to say, this is from Wikipedia, generally each episode deals with a drama focused on one particular customer. The plot introduces the characters of the episode before detailing some kind of personal challenge they've got or they've had or they're going to have. Master although generally reserved, offers help and advice. He's so cool, by the way, in the character, in the actor in the part. It's a very minimal performance, but there's something about him. It's like, you get the feeling that you could just talk to him, you could tell him anything, and the people do in the series. Where do I just see anything else before I get back to you guys in the chat? So yeah, Master cooks everything by himself, requesting help only if he knows he can't do something. There we go. While the characters are largely transitional, so they're here and they're gone, they're seen mainly in their own self-contained episodes. Some are often seen as minor characters or cameos in 1 or 2 other episodes. So you do get some recurring characters. Yeah, really good. Okay, let's go back. Okay, let's get back to the stream. How are we doing? Anybody here? So we got Nosferatu and Nay still here. Good to see you. Thanks so much for dropping in and thanks for watching. Nosferatu saying, I just watched the one about the boxer who falls in love with a single mother. Yeah, it was a good one. I've seen that. Okay, so you're going back to the original series, yeah? I think that's from the first season, 2009. Only 10 episodes. The Master kicks ass. He's like the fucking Yoda of solving people's emotional bullshit. He basically just lets them talk. But every now and then, he'll offer a little bit of advice, or he'll kind of give people a little push when they need that, a little, guidance to, why don't you go and visit that person, or why don't you do this? It's cool. Yeah, it was a manga. Funny because it feels like a manga or anime, but live action. Yes, it was. Now let me read a little bit from that. So where are we? Oops, just clicked on the wrong link. Manga. I do have a picture of the manga somewhere. Give me 1 second. There we go. Very basic. This is the Japanese cover. Very basic cover. Can you see that? Yeah. Oh, it's a bit small. If I blow it up, it goes blurry. But anyway, there we go. These kind of slice of life manga are really popular in Japan. They have manga about everything, but of course cooking and food-based manga are popular. Lee Van Cleef in A Few Dollars More. Oh, okay, that's your favourite role of his, is it? Yeah, Nosferatu. I tell you, it was cool when I saw that when I was like a young teenager. This short-lived American pulpy TV show just called The Master. And it had the Japanese actor Sho Kosugi in it, who I saw in films like Enter the Ninja, Return of the Ninja, or Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3, Domination, things like that. All the canon pulpy B movies from the 80s. Remember those? Okay, you just watched a great episode about different classes in Japan. Different classes, yeah. Yeah, that was a great episode with about prostitutes, but exotic dancers, shall we say, strippers. There was a really good one where there was this very refined looking, older, mature woman who was wearing a kimono, looking beautiful, and she makes friends with a young exotic dancer, one of the characters she's appeared a few times in the show, and it was cool. Like they go out clubbing together, and there's a really weird scene where it's in a proper dance club, but the elderly lady in the kimono, she's doing this really subtle, maybe traditional Japanese style dance, like an Aubon dance, and people are watching her like, wow. Yeah, it's a great scene. Recommend that one. I think the stripper's called Marilyn. Am I muted? There are times when G's more interesting when muted. Real? Oh, Jesus. I hope I'm not muted. Nay, are you messing with my head? Some characters are literally transitional. Yes. Now, this is a very, very positive thing about this series. It has gay and trans characters in it, and guess what? That isn't all their character is. Does that make sense? They are characters who just happen to be gay or trans or, a prostitute, and they've got flaws. They make mistakes. They feel real. They feel like people I've met. Even in my small town in Japan, there's a couple of gay bars, a trans bar. It used to be very kind of kept quiet, very hidden, hidden out of sight. A little bit about the UK, I guess, where I grew up in Britain back in the 70s, 80s. It was starting to come out a bit. I think it's the same with Japan, very... Yeah, it was a hidden part of society, but of course they've always had these clubs and bars, and they are popular. So refreshing to see characters who are characters first, and they've got they get on together well. You've got like a Yakuza boss who's like very stoic and hardly changes his expression, and there's a really elderly gay man who's really into him. He's really like so cute with him, so nice, and the guy doesn't punch him, doesn't like kill him or anything. He just kind of puts up with him, and they end up sharing food and get to know you get to know these characters. But it's just good. It's just refreshing to see. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. Woopah Troopah saying, what's that? Ladies of the night? I like those. Notice the way I switched that word then. Okay, Nosferatu, the episode of the porn star whose mother disowned him and returned, only for her to have dementia and not know who he is. Mate, that was a fantastic episode. That had me like tearing up. I tell you, the Japanese are so good at this. They not only do they convey these emotional scenes, but they draw them out, they stretch them out, so you're like, oh God, you're trying not to, you're trying to like wipe the tears away. Very good. And this is just a very small TV show. It was on, it was put on at midnight on a small channel, and then it just got popular over time. What I'm going to do later, I want to read from some of the user reviews from IMDb, people who found it, just by chance, and people are raving over this. Not that many reviews, because you say it's not a big series, but I tell you, make sure you go and check out the original. Let's say there's Midnight Diner, and then there's Midnight Diner Tokyo Stories. So Midnight Diner is the first 3 seasons. And yeah, Tokyo Stories is the Netflix produced season 4 and 5. All very good. Now, I haven't seen them all yet. I've seen the first 1.5 season, and I watched a couple of Netflix ones, and they were good, they were fine. But yeah, it's all about the characters and the characters' stories. And it shows you a great view of Japan. You get a real look into the kind of nightclub, very small restaurant, but the nightclub scenes. Here we go, for example, there's a photo here of, this is his counter bar. As you can see, it's a very old looking restaurant. It looks like it needs a lot of work done to it. Dirty electric fan at the top there. The old sliding screen doors, wood and glass. There's only room for there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 seats. That's it, a 9-seat counter bar. Now, there are so many of these over here. They're amazing. When I first got here, it used to amaze me how all these places stay in business. How do they keep going, through the competition must be insane, especially in cities like Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, the big areas. I'm only in a tiny little countryside town, and we have a drinking area. It's called Asahi Machi, not after the beer. Asahi means the morning sun, or the sunrise, or the next day. It can mean many things. So Asahi Machi means city or whatever, area. So the the area of the morning sun. How amazing does that sound? It's because you go out drinking and you're there till the morning. That's happened so many times when I was younger. Not so much these days, but it's you go into one of these bars, you just get chatting, there'd be karaoke, you come out, stagger out, and it'd be daylight. Oh my God, what happened to the night? Black holes of Asahi Machi, we call them here. The black holes of Japanese bars and restaurants. Where are we? Let me get back. Oh, thank you, Woopah. So I'm not muted. Thank God for that. Nene's just messing with me. Nosferatu saying they actually treat bundle of sticks like they're human beings and not superheroes. Flawed, realistic characters. There you go. Hey, Jake D, nice to see you, mate. Thanks for dropping in. Yay, good to see you. How we doing? It was brutal, wasn't it, Nosferatu? Very emotional. Yeah, for an old sentimental bear like me, it got me, man. It got me in the feels. Okay, as Nosferatu is saying here, I love the detail of the diner. The cabinets are very old, along with the doors. Exactly, just what I was saying. It looks beat up. It looks like a place you'd wander in and you'd think, oh God, where is this? Where am I? What is this place? But it's just the atmosphere. That makes part of the show, and it is so realistic. There are so many places like this over here. Of course, there are new, beautiful, shining, gleaming places too. In the first season, you do get looks at some of the I think you see the gay bar, and you see one of the trans characters their snack bar as well. So you see a little bit of that. It's good to see. You're not always set in the diner. it does go outside the diner. You go to the different characters, maybe their homes, you see their lives outside of this, but just the idea of having a place that's open from midnight to 7 in the morning, you know, so you get, as he says, like people who are kind of wandering home but not ready to go back home yet, they often wander into my diner and have something to eat, you know, have a chat, always have a drink. I watch this and I'm so easy, Gray. I'm so easy because easily influenced. I see him ordering the beer or the sake, and I'm like, I just want to go and get a Japanese beer. I want to go and buy one, and I want to have one that looks like from the series. You know what I mean? They show them in bottles here, which you don't see that much anymore, but it used to be bottled beer, very popular in Japan, and you get very small beer glasses, not like pints or anything like that, very small glasses, and you share, and your friend pours yours, or you pour your friends, kind of thing. There's also there's a kind of respect thing about that as well, where if you're out with the company, you know, with the boss, people take it in turns to pour the boss's drinks, so your glass keeps getting topped up. You lose track of how much you've had to drink. You know, you're not like sat with your pint or whatever, your own can or your bottle, so you know what you've had. As you can imagine, this has led to a lot of very unusual, crazy, insane nights for me, for Gray, getting lost in the madness of Sahimachi. Sorry, banging the table. But yeah, man, some memories. Well, when I can remember the night before, wow, we had some great nights. You'll find yourself like in a place like this in, you know, the middle of nowhere, or just somewhere you've wandered into, and it's like it could turn out to be the best night of your life. You know, you might meet people who you end up having long-term friendships with. You might find your new lover there. You know, you could find anything. You might find your next. No, I'm not gonna say it. Okay. Where were we? So, as Nene says, it's the same as the small pubs in London where people are out in the streets drinking. Yeah. You know, you don't see that as much over here in Japan. It's weird. There's not much outside drinking. They don't have many tables outside, especially where I am. In the bigger cities, yeah. But, yeah, it's something that I kind of miss about Europe or back home. You know, having the beer garden, somewhere to go out and drink. As Woopah Troopah says, wow, treating people like people. Exactly. You know, these are people, they're all flawed. They've all got problems. They've all got sad stories or happy stories, or, you know, stories of love, lost love. As the master says in one of the episodes, it's like, you know, life isn't like a movie. You don't always get a happy ending. So you've got to be prepared. If you watch this, you're going to be prepared to be moved, to be upset, to be sad. But I enjoy it. Nice to see. Good to see you. Where were we? So, yeah. Wow, I can't believe it. There's actually people here watching. I thought it was just going to be me and Nosferatu, because as I was saying earlier, I think I've got him into it. I've got old the crazy Nosferatu, the old cynic. I've got him into this beautiful, schmaltzy, overly sentimental, but, you know, realistic looking Japanese drama. 25-minute episodes, only 10 per season. Check it out. I know not everyone has Netflix, but it's great. And don't give up because it's got subtitles. It's worth hearing the Japanese. It's great. You know, it doesn't have dubbed, I'm afraid. I don't know about the Netflix one. Maybe they have a dubbed version, but the original ones don't. It's just English subtitles. Did I say Japanese? Woopah's saying, I want to get a sake bomb. Question. Is it insensitive to say that? No, not at all. I've never had a sake bomb. Just saying. No. You know, that's another thing about going back to the beer and the small beer glasses. The sake is always poured in tiny little cups, isn't it? If you've seen it in TV and movies, that always used to get me. It's like, why? You know, why? But I guess the idea is that you don't know how much you've had, and only a small cup. You think, maybe I'm not drinking too much, or maybe it's not about that. Maybe it's easier to share. You know, with smaller cups, smaller glasses, you can share it round. I do love that about it here. There's a real kind of, you know, sharing drink culture where when you're out with your mates, you know, you get a couple of big bottles and you're all like topping each other's drinks up. It's different to back home. In a way, I do kind of miss that as well. I miss the old, you know, shouting a round in for your mates. So I'll get the next round in, and, you know, you've had like 4 or 5 pints by the time you're halfway through the night. I'm so easy. Nosferatu, I am. Are you calling me a dirty slut? Oh my God. And Jake D saying it sounds like Waffle House. Really? Is that what it's like? 'Cause I have no idea. But these counterbars, you can see in the photo, it's so cool. We're looking from the owner, the chef, the master's perspective. He's looking out. That's the doors to come in. You've got a side window. People sat around the counter. You're very close together. That can't be helped. A lot of the ramen restaurants, like ramen bars, they call them, like this. You just sat around a counter. So yeah, I do like it, and I've kind of missed it over the last few years with what's been going on, and it's been harder to get out, and they're putting bloody clear screens everywhere. You're separating you from your friends. But enough about that. Salty Texas C in the chat. How are you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Woopah Troopah saying, I'm a homebody. Always is weird for me to go out by myself to a random bar. Yeah, well, it's weird, isn't it? I've never been that much of like going out all the time because I've been married for so long, I guess. Man, if I'd come over here to Japan single, Jesus, that would have been another story. I'd probably have no money and like 3 different kids to look after from different mothers. Just saying. I don't know. But yeah, these days, like I just usually chill out at home, drinking at home, watching something like this, or watching a stream, jumping on a stream with friends. It's good fun. But I do miss the going out. Got to say that. Jake D, a life of anime has prepared me for subtitles. Okay, cool, Jake. So you like to watch the original Japanese, yeah? Yeah, me too. I've always been like that, even long before I came here. When I used to watch the Kurosawa movies or the Beat Takeshi Kitano, his Yakuza movies, always Japanese with English subtitles. Let's get another photo. Where are we? Which way? Is it this way? So there's the chef. There's the master. We've not really got his story so far. I'm only like 1.5 seasons in, but he has a scar over his eye. I've heard something about that. I won't spoil it, but it's interesting. There's something about him, but this guy, this actor, I think he's called Kaoru Kobayashi, something like that, maybe. He's been in quite a few things. He's a little bit like, not a big star, but he gets around and always gives these understated performances. Really good. Not many people know this, but Gray and I, says Nosferatu, Gray and I are known notoriously as the Ochazuke brothers. Mate, one of the episodes in this and characters that do actually recur are called the Ochazuke sisters. Now, what Ochazuke is, it's a dish over here, a very simple dish. It's going to sound crazy to you, but this is what it is. It's a bowl of rice with tea, Japanese tea poured into it. Told you it's going to sound crazy. Now, not just tea, they put like, what do they call it? There's bits and pieces, little bits of nori, seaweed, little bits of maybe sesame seed, bits and bobs in it as well. But it's basically, ocha. Ocha is tea, yeah? Ocha suke. Suke means like put on or pour on. So tea on rice. And you don't drink it, you do eat it, but it makes the rice soft. It's easy to eat. It's popular when you're ill to eat that kind of food, and it's popular in winter. It's also a way of turning in a plain bowl of rice into an interesting, tasty dish, rather than just having it as plain. So there's these 3 women, single women, who are, trying to find a man, trying to find the love of their lives. They're called the Ochazuke sisters because they come into the diner and they order Ochazuke, and each one has a different topping. Like one's umeboshi, one's shake, which is salmon, and what's the other one? Maybe kombu, which is basically a kind of kelp or seaweed. Hey, who came here for a Japanese lesson? Sorry if I'm scaring you away with that, but man, I could just talk about this all night. Okay, Woopah, my old internet buddy told me I need to get one. The sake bomb, is it? I love Irish car bombs, so I'd love to do a sake bomb. But I know calling them Irish car bombs is still frowned upon. Jesus, man, that takes me back. I grew up in those days, not in Ireland, but in the UK, Manchester, and we experienced the IRA. They blew up the centre of Manchester many years ago. Don't know if you knew about that. And I was working in HMV back then. We got evacuated. Wow, that was a crazy, crazy day. Look at Woopah sending me off on tangents. I'm only on coffee, by the way, just letting you know. Nothing naughty. I'm only on coffee, but what am I like when I get going? I can't stop. I really am turning into the Wakizashi waffle, aren't I? Don't think anyone knows. Now they do. Nosferatu was saying that Irish car bombs do rule, but the hangovers are ridiculous. Okay, What is it, guys? What's the Irish car bomb? Is it whiskey with a... Wait a minute. Is it a pint of beer that you drop a glass of whiskey into? A shot of whiskey? Is it that? Look at me. You've no idea. Grey on Jerry Springer. Is that what you're saying? How can you be notorious when nobody knows? How can you not know when you just read that? Says Nosferatu. Nay. Okay, Jake D, yeah man, I found myself enjoying the Japanese with English subtitles more over the years. Yeah, for me too. It's got easier as I've got older. The same thing with Korean, or of course like French, whatever, Spanish drama. I'll always do the original language, and I want to have, subtitles because I want to hear the actors' voices. I think it makes a huge difference. Now I know, I've heard there are really good voice actors out there. There are really good English dubbed versions of things. One that keeps getting recommended to me is Cowboy Bebop, the original anime. I've heard from friends that the original English dub is excellent. It might have even been Nosferatu who was talking about that. If not, mate, I'm sorry, I'm mixing you up with somebody else. Okay, let's get a bit down. Where are we? The Troubles. Yeah, there are some, actually, Jake D, there are some great IRA-based movies out there. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's an old one called Cal. I think it's C-A-L. I always remember seeing Helen Mirren naked in that when I was a kid. Like, that stuck in my head for some reason. Like, ooh, Helen Mirren going full frontal. That's what I do, get things off topic, says Woopah. I haven't even mentioned Pokemon yet. No, we've done well, haven't we? It's 32 minutes into the stream. No Pokemon. Well, you have now, and you got me to say it. Oh, no, I did it. I fell for it again. No, mate, I'm joking. I love Pokemon. Always have some Pokemon love. So let me show you a photo of the Netflix version. Here we go. So going back to Midnight Diner Tokyo Stories. This is from the season 4 and 5, which I started watching by mistake and then found the original season. But very good. I enjoyed the first one. It's good. It's still the same setting, I think. It's a bit more well produced. You see a difference in the quality from the original 2009 season. But yeah, I recommend it, guys. If you don't fancy watching the original, check out the Netflix one. Really good. And there's a really gorgeous kind of Japanese folk song as the theme song they use for it. I don't think it was written for this. I think it's an old, what's called enka. The enka is the traditional Japanese folk song. It's a guy singing about, I think, blues or whatever, his life. It sounds a bit sad, a little bit maudlin, very sentimental. And it does play sometimes during the series, but, I don't want to get hit for strikes and stuff, for copyright claims, whatever you call it, so I'm not going to play anything from it. Hail to the Hollywood Scholar. Hey, thanks for dropping in, mate. Nice to see you. Nice to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. I heard you got shouted out today. Was it last night on Friday Night Tights? So congratulations on that. Jake D, yes, Cowboy Bebop was magnificently dubbed. Okay, thanks. That's confirmation then. Yeah, I've heard it's brilliant. I've been watching the original Cowboy Bebop in Japanese because being in Japan, I don't have the option to watch the English dub. I'll have to order it. I'll have to get a DVD for that. There we go, Nosferatu confirming it. The English dub blows the Japanese one out of the water. You need to hear the dulcet tones of Steve Blum. Really? Is that Steve Blum who made Blumhouse? No, I'm just joking. I need a hi-hat thing. Or a grow like, tumbleweed like blowing across the screen. That kind of thing. When all my jokes never land. Okay, Woopah, thanks, mate, for letting me know about the sake bomb or the Irish car bomb. It's delicious. It's more of a group drink. I once bought a random person one because I wanted one so bad, but I didn't want to do one alone. I was pretty drunk at the time. Woopah, you old dark horse, you. Didn't know you were a drinker, mate. A party Woopah. The only thing I know like that was if you ever had a flaming Cointreau. That was a weird drink where you light it up and then you put the flames out with your hand like that somehow and knock it back. Not very good. The flames kind of burn out the alcohol. A light bulb was pretty good. I had that. That was a mix of champagne and, Jesus, is it champagne and vodka? Wow. They call it light bulbs because it's like, have enough of those and the lights go off, mate. Switching off a light. Great is definitely war turtle. No idea what that means. Nasty madman. Jake D, when the creator of Bebop says the English version is better, you know it's god level. Okay, that's cool. Yes, I know, right, Nene? I'm working on my material. Jokes, you know, when you like live streaming, you've got stream brain like me, where I forget major names and things. You know, forget who I am sometimes, forget where I am. My God, am I in Japan? How did I get here? If I have mornings like that where you wake up, you're like, I thought I was still in Manchester. I didn't know he said that. It's really cool for him to say that. Woopah Troopah. I'm a social drinker. Very wise. Very wise. Don't drink by myself. I do. But I have had some wild nights with mates in college. Yeah, oh mate, haven't we all? Don't you wish you could still drink like you were in your 20s? Well, maybe you are. I'm not. War Turtle is from Pokemon. Okay, there we go. Woopah Troopah is on Officer Jenny's radar. She's had it with his shenanigans. We still aren't allowed in the Safari Zone after what he did last time. Tell me more, Jake D, what's going on there? We also had a drink that was called an Adios. It had Everclear in it. Sayonara. Oh, cool. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. Thanks, Nosferatu. Oh, you still are in your 20s. Wow, man. Jealous. I have to say, I'm jealous. Where are we? Not to the original. Okay. This photo is from, I think they have made 2 movie versions as well. I forgot to mention that, the series. So you've got the 5 seasons so far, starting back in 2009, you know, so it's been going for, wow, you know, 12, 13 years. I'm not sure if it's going to make a new one, so it could just be the 5. Then there were 2 movies made as far as I know. This one is one from 2015. You can see there on the small picture. So I haven't seen the movie versions yet. Now often, I don't know what you think, but often when you get a really good TV series, it doesn't quite transfer to a movie. It doesn't work. Not always the case, but I can think of a few examples, like X-Files just jumps to mind straight away. What else? Yeah. Starsky and Hutch. Do you ever see the modern version of that? Well, not modern. That's pretty old now, isn't it? Things like that. Nay says, speaking of jokes, I like the clip you play from Withnail with the register guy. You can clearly see Grant. Yeah, Richard E. Grant can't help laughing in that. It's a great clip. Oh, speaking of that, that could be a good segue, Nay, because we're talking about bars, aren't we? Talking about, you know, Japanese izakayas, diners. So shall I drop that? Where are we? Let's get back to here. Go to the brand. Time for a bit of Withnail and I. Time for a drink, methinks.
But I was going for a minute. No man's put me down yet. You had any training in the martial arts?
It's cracking. Great movie. Do you know, I don't know why, but recently most of my streams, they don't get very many views, and sometimes after they're over, you know, they'll get a few views here and there, nothing special. But for some reason lately, the Withnail and I stream I did, like talking about the movie, that's been getting quite a few views. Now, by quite a few, I'm talking like, you know, 3 or 4 a week. But for me, that's good. Especially with live streams, they don't tend to do anything, you know, it can't be helped. But once they're over, it's rare that people go back to them. So, yeah. But yeah, Withnail and I, if you haven't seen Withnail and I really recommend it. Crazy 1980s British independent comedy about drinkers and that, you know, out of work actors. Just don't ask Nene to recommend it, because he won't. Nosferatu, Gray, can you explain the red octopus wiener to the audience? Oh man, the red octopus wiener is it's a popular kind of dish in Japan. I don't know about popular, but it's mainly done for children. And little red coloured sausages, they call them wieners here. What they do is the master or the chef will slice them into, what do you call it? Doesn't cut them in half, he cuts like little slices into them, so when they cook they make octopus legs like that. They kind of stretch out. Does that make sense? And yeah, little pink or red octopus wieners. what was funny is the episode that they're popular, I think it's the very first one, it's the Yakuza boss who orders those. He's a big fan of them. It's like, it's like a kid's treat that Okar-san, mum, puts in your bento, in your lunchbox. I don't think you can order them at the izakaya, so it's cool seeing that in this series that, he will make anything if he's got the ingredients. He'll make your comfort food, your soul food, the food that you loved as a child, the food that's got a really good memory. So, do you say wieners in America? Chipolata, is that it? Well, I can't remember what you say in the UK. Because wiener's a German word, I know that, but I think we just used to call them chipolata sausages in England, in the UK, or what else was it? Cocktail sausages for some reason. What? What's a cocktail sausage? Have you ever downed one? Just saying. Okay, yeah, Nosferatu's following up there. The red octopus wieners are a delicacy in the Midnight Diner, but normally you can't order them. That's what's cool about that episode. Octopus wieners. I've seen enough hentai that I don't think I want to know what they are. Woopah, what have you been watching? Just saying. Oh, cool. We say hot dogs. Okay, the little hot dog sausages. Let me see if I can find a photo. Speaking of that, where are we? I'll have to go to... Just bear with me 1 second. The red... Is it red, guys? Red octopus wieners. Here we go. Let's see if we can get some images up. Yes, we can. Ooh. Okay, let me go back to stream on. I need to share this screen. So thank you for that. For the shout out, Nosferatu. Good idea. Here we go. Where are we? Share screen. Is it window or is it tab? Share a tab. Okay, guys, to give you an idea. Now, there's nothing naughty about these, Woopah, just saying. Japan, octopus-shaped red wieners. Wow, look at that one. There's a Cthulhu one here. Cthulhu! That's what they look like when they're cooking. There you go. Give you an idea. Oh, there's even a link to the Shinya Shokudo. In Japanese, the Tokyo... Sorry, what's it called? Midnight Diner, Tokyo Stories. Shinya Shokudo. Shinya means midnight. Shokudo means like a dining place, a place to eat. What do you reckon, guys? Look good? Midnight Diner, Tokyo series. So there we go. Don't worry about it. Well, maybe you're disappointed. There's no like tentacle porn on my channel, I'm afraid. Not yet. Not this time. Although it is late night, isn't it? Yeah, Cthulhu. There we go. Stop sharing. Boom. Now, I wanted to show you some of the reviews from IMDb. So, okay. Come on, Gray, you can do it. Stream Brain is kicking in. What I need to do is go here and share this one. Okay. Now, this is the photo from the original series. This is one of the DVDs. So you can see it's a different look to the Netflix one. That's the master there. Let me close that. And let's go to the user reviews. So just to, for anyone who's joined late, just to reiterate, it's Shinya Shokudo, Midnight Diner. It's a TV series from Japan which started in 2009. It tells many stories about ordinary people who eat in the Shinya Shokudo, the Midnight Diner. The small restaurant opens from 12 in the evening to 7 in the morning. Look at that. It's got an 8.6 out of 10 IMDb rating. That's high, man. That's high. Now let me share some of these reviews with you. Not that many, only 21 on here. And this is for the original series, yeah, not for the Netflix update. Got someone here saying, the most awesome adult drama series from Asia. This is by Ebiros 2. And now they wrote this back in 2011. Based on a comic book by Yaro Abe, Shinya Shokudo is a story about a small, hole-in-the-wall late-night restaurant. Operates between till midnight till 7 in the morning. It's run by one person, the master, Kaoru Kobayashi, great actor. There are only 4 items on the menu. There's the pork-based stew, beer, sake, or shochu, which is the Korean potato liqueur, which is very popular here. They use it for many drinks. make a drink that's similar to a highball, a whiskey highball, but they make that kind of thing with the shochu. Also, shochu on the rocks is popular. Now, I've never been a big fan of shochu. It's got a bit of a weird aroma, smell to it, and man, I get some killer hangovers on it as well. So just saying, but it's very popular. The restaurant's located in the Hanazono area of Shinjuku and has only the generic description of meshiya, which means food place. Okay, he wrote this in 2011, yes, so he's saying so far, 20 episodes have been on air between 2009 and 2011. That was the second season. They were all broadcast in the late night slot between midnight and 2 in the morning. For a late night program, it's considered a hit if they get only 1% viewers. Now, this program consistently got over 2% ratings, so it was popular even, that crazy time slot. The episodes consist of life stories of customers who frequent the restaurant, but starting in the second series, each episode consists of a new customer who has their own life story going on. Because of the hours the restaurant operates and the nature of its size, customers who frequent the place have their life in specialised areas of society, including gangs, which is like the Yakuza, construction workers. They put Lady Godiva here. Does it mean strippers? They're like snack bar owners, hostesses, part-timers, fast food joint owners, salary workers, but most of them have a special background that makes the story unique and interesting. Okay. And he or she finishes their review saying, the series is superb, that it tells stories of the underbellies of society. That's me. With emotion, with sentiment and love, unlike any other stories told. Wow. So he was really sold on this one. Food designer Nami Iijima designed the foods that appear in the series, and all of those items are common items consumed by Japanese families. This is important. At home, yeah, but not usually served in Japanese restaurants. If you can find a copy of this drama, it will be an interesting watch, guaranteed. Here we go, one more. Life experiences. It seems to me one of the common themes in the show is how people associate food with their life experiences. The foods are fairly simple, but it's the emotion and memories that you keep with you that makes them taste extra special. What's so endearing is the characters, they're not really quirky, but they're struggling in their own way. Each of their own, they've all got their own, life story. It's not all like hardship. There are positive stories too. There are happy endings sometimes, but man, sometimes, you're like, wow. Whew, it gets you. Another one. I was hooked halfway through the first episode. I saw the word kind in another review here, and while it's not a word you usually associate with a TV show, kindness is one of the overarching themes of the series. Kaoru Kobayashi, the main character, everyone calls him Master, has the kind of kindness, nice, that comes from inner strength, compassion and wisdom. The revolving ensemble of characters is wonderful. Great casting. Sometimes the show seems to be a comedy, other times a drama, or a melancholy tale of unrequited love. Food, the sharing of and the making of, is an important part of the show. He cooks simple food, but every dish looks delicious. I see the series was rebooted in 2019. That's right, so that's the Netflix one. I think there have been 2 seasons from the reboot. Okay, let me get back to you. If you're anybody out there. There we go. Nosferatu saying the owner, Master, he has a cool scar. He smokes cigarettes. That's right. It's his bar. He can do what he wants. His restaurant. The most anime character. I know all these drinks because of the Yakuza games. Yeah, Nosferatu, you're a big fan, aren't you, of the Yakuza games on the old, is it PlayStation? I've never played them, but I've heard they're very popular. What system were those on? I sort of remember seeing them, but never played them. I think he's on PlayStation 4 or 5, I'm not sure. And here we go. Nosferatu, you got it. Having empathy and realising the world doesn't revolve around you. Great themes. Yeah. For me, as I say, it's although it's a drama, although it's a work of fiction, this is a great slice of life. Like, look, a great look into Japan, the real Japan. Okay, it's dated now, it's 2009 maybe, but yeah, I really recommend it. I can't recommend it enough. I was chatting with a friend before about, I was at work and I was thinking, I couldn't wait to get home. I try not to watch too many. I'm not binge watching it because there's only 10 episodes per season. There's only 5 seasons and they're only 30 minutes. Well, 25, with credits. So I don't want to go through too many, but I usually end up watching 2. I try and limit myself to 2 in the evening, with dinner. At the weekend, yesterday, like a total fool, gullible fool, I bought a bottle of Japanese beer and a little tiny bottle of sake. So I had the beer while I was watching it, pretending I was there, pretending that I have a life that I've got. I'm out and about in Shinjuku in Tokyo, making friends. Oh, Nerdporeal's here. How you doing? Food. Yes, the food does look good. It's very simple fare, very simple. It's like home cooking. It's dishes that remind you of your childhood, or dishes that you rely on when you're feeling down. Chicken soup with a soul, that kind of thing. Oh, the PlayStation 4. Oh, Norinrad, are you still here? May, nice to see you. Thanks for coming back. Nosradu, I don't know if I've missed the comments, but let people know which games you recommend for the Japanese games, the Yakuza games. Which ones are good? Which ones are worth checking out? Great themes. Good enough for entertainment, I suppose. Says Nay. Come on, Nay. Even you. I'm sure this'll bring a little salty tear to your eye if you watch it. Or maybe not. Maybe it's too sentimental. Because I've said that. I've repeated that. I've warned you. It does maybe overplay. But the Japanese love that. They love these emotional dramas. I just love the characters. Because they feel like people that you might meet in a snack bar in Japan. They feel like real people. All the flaws are there to see. There's no... what do you call it? Perfect character in here. There's no one, everyone's got like skeletons in the closet. It just feels real. It's like you can relate to these people, the struggling everyday people, the working class of Japan. It's fascinating. Okay. Ooh, what's going on? Codenomics, nice to see you, man. Thanks for dropping in. Hey, ladies, says Codenomics. Yeah, Nerdporeal, I know. I briefly mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. I didn't really want to talk about it because I'm kind of keep this as a positive stream, and nothing against you, the comment, just saying I couldn't believe it yesterday. It was a big shock to everyone. Still not sure how real it is. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying it looked really weird. The stuff that they've shown with the amount of people with smartphones, capable of filming things in real time these days. The fact that they don't have any footage of it actually happening. They've got it just before and just after. Listen to me being all cynical. This is only my opinion, just saying. Yeah, here we go, Nosferatu. It's not a life-changing Jon Snow. It's not a life-changing or amazing show, but if you fancy a bit of positivity, if you fancy a look into Japan, this is it. It's not full of samurai and ninja. It's not like classic Japan. It's real-life working-class people with, problems in their lives who find a little bit of solace, comfort in, a home comfort-style food, in the company of similar people. It's great. Where else can you see a Yakuza boss and a very camp gay bar owner, interacting? And it's just like, they don't what do you call it? They don't broadcast it. They don't like shine lights on it. Oh, look, we have so-and-so character here. It's like, no, these are people who just happen to be gay or happen to be straight or happen to be, exotic dancer, a boxer, a single mother, an orphan. It's like, hey, I think I've been watching too much Marvel. You know what I mean? Giving up on all that nonsense. Good to see you. Are you hungry now, Conomics? Yeah, me too. I'm actually thirsty now. I had a nice lunch before. I fancy a bottle of Japanese beer. Can anyone pass me one through the screen? Thank you. Or a nice little cup of sake. But it's a bit early for me. It's only 2 p.m. here. Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. Ooh, where are we? Howdy. Gray. About to get taken down by the Japanese FBI. No! It's rice with an egg, a staple Japanese breakfast. It's often served in like hotel restaurants, or when you get the morning breakfast, you can order it. Not always, and not raw either. They do like a raw egg when you have the sukiyaki. Do you know sukiyaki? That's a delicious dish. It's like stir fried beef, onions with soy sauce and mirin. Do you know mirin? Gives it a really good taste, and that's served on top of rice. And it's popular to have a little mini bowl with you mix your own raw egg in it, and as you're eating the beef, you dip it in. There's these little thin slices of beef, dip it in the raw egg and eat it. Sukiyaki. That was the name of a song, wasn't it, as well? So for my breakfast, Nerdporeal, I usually just have a piece of bread, some toast, and just before I set off for work, I do have rice. I might have some miso soup if there's any left over, or I have whatever's here. I'll just fry up a quick egg. Yeah, a tamago yaki, the Japanese mini rolled omelettes, are very popular, very easy to make. You'll see those in the series. Yeah, Nosferatu, I heard that. We had the Georgia Guidestones blown up with explosives. I saw the footage of that, and then after that they decided to topple the rest, didn't they? They just knock them down. What was that all about originally? Who were they erected by? NWO? Codenomic says he's an exotic dancer. Tell you what, mate, you'd fit right in this series. They do show a little bit of that. You see a little bit of the strip clubs. I mean, they don't show what you really want to see, you know what I mean? Just saying, but it's cool. What they do show is quite funny, and it's quite titillating at times. There's one episode Nosferatu was talking about before with a guy who, like, he became a porn star, and you see him in it's like a funny scene where you do see a couple of like Japanese ladies with their tops off. My God, remember that? Remember breasts? Remember boobs? Jesus, I do. But they don't show very much. Don't try to deflect you from your comments. Codenomics just finished a kind of amazing beer. Oh, mate, I'm jealous. I tell you, I'm going to go and get one after this stream, and I'm going to settle down tonight, this evening, my time, pour myself a couple of small glasses of Japanese beer, maybe a nice Kirin Ichiban Shibori, I recommend that, or the Kirin Classic, love that design, the classic lager style. Not a fan of Asahi Super Dry because they changed the recipe while I've been in Japan. I've been here 20 years almost, and it tastes like shite now. It's terrible, and you get the worst hangovers off it. Whew. So it must be all that GMO'd cornstarch they put in it now. What's that all about? But yes, I did fly in front of a boy's window and spooked him. I'm now rehabilitated. What are you talking about? Nosferatu, you madman. What are you talking about? That's cool. Ah, dear me. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out and dropping your comments. You make these streams, been blabbering on now. Wow, it's been an hour almost. Can't believe it. Nerdporeal saying dipping in egg is always delicious. Yeah, toast. Used to do that back in the UK when I was growing up. What did we used to call it? Did we call it soldiers? You'd toast a piece of bread and you'd cut it into 10 like small strips and you dip it in your boiled egg. I think they were called soldiers. God, I can't remember. I've been here so long, turning Japanese. On that note, I think it's time for another clip. We had Nosferatu, was it talking about the With Nell and I clips? Shall I drop another one? How about the finest wines available to humanity? Let's go for that one.
You're drunk. Just bring out the cake. Cake and fine wine.
If you don't leave, we'll call the police.
Balls. We want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, and we want them now.
Miss Blenner has it. Telephone the police.
I know it's off topic, but come on, guys, you've got to check that movie out With Nell and I. It's fantastic. The two main characters, drunk, end up in a cake shop, a posh tea room, a cake shop in is it Penrith in the Lake District in England, and they just want more booze. First of all, they're going in to soak up the wine. No, we've got to soak up the booze because we need cake. The comedy is like demanding, I demand the finest wines available to humanity. I want them here and I want them now. Great stuff. Yes, Nerdporeal, Richard E. Grant, in one of his breakout roles. It was only a small independent movie in the UK. It's since become a cult classic, if you know what I mean. It's one of those. It wasn't a big hit. The director and writer, he wrote it based on his experiences growing up as an out-of-work actor. He funded part of the movie. It was actually made by, produced by George Harrison's Handmade. Is it Handmade, the old film company they used to have? Oh, just having some coffee. I'm up for an hour now, so guys, I'm not stopping the stream. I'm going to send out an invite if anyone wants to drop in. If you want to drop in, you are very welcome. Just give me 2 ticks and I will just send it into the Wolf Brothers and Sisters chat. Oh, I forgot to post my link. I totally forgot. Oh, hilarious. There we go. I'll paste the link now. You're welcome to pop in if you want to. There we go. Grace sent the link. Send one to Salty as well. Salty, mate. Salty needs cheering up. His channel is under attack by Amazon. Where are we? Okay. Oh, Nene saying once had a customer named Maboob. Really? My boobs are very small. I'm just saying. Oh my God, I don't have any. Can you imagine if... Oh, no. Don't go down that road. Codomics, the beer I had was called... I don't know how to pronounce this. It's going to come across wrong. I'm sorry if I make it wrong. Cocytus. Oh my God, I'm suffering from cocytus. It's a rye whiskey barrel-aged imperial stout. Oh, mate, it sounds amazing. I love a good imperial stout. They do a great one. There's a local brewery here, and the local mountain, you know, at the mountain, which is called Dyson G Beer. They brew their own beer there, and they do like a 9.5% imperial stout. It's unbelievable, fantastic, very dangerous. It's like drinking like a loaf of bread. You know what I mean? It's so thick and rich. Where are we? Kieran got bought out by InBev. Really? No way. Okay, we're just catching up with this chat. I told him Salem's Lot was based on Nosferatu's exploits, hence flying by a boy's window. Nosferatu's avatar terrifies me. It's Klaus Kinski playing Nosferatu in the 1970-something version of the film, which is on YouTube, by the way. You can watch it for free. Crazy Klaus Kinski. Love it. What a madman. He was in one of the spaghetti westerns, wasn't he, with Clint Eastwood. The world needs a Nerdporeal OOT stream, says Jake D. Okay, sorry guys, I'm catching up on, I'm miles behind. No Woopahs allowed. That says Nerdporeal. We don't have to, like the Tokyo DINER finished now, we don't have to talk about that, guys. You just want to like generally chat and chill out. You're welcome. Talk about, wow, I watched The Boys last night. I finished the last 2 episodes of The Boys. I hadn't seen it. Mate, the final episode of The Boys, there's a great scene where it just kicks off big style. You finally get to see them all going at each other. You get Soldier Boy and Butcher, Homelander, all of them, and they have a huge fight. It's really good. It's well done. Where's nay? Cocytus sounds like a disease. Cocytus. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. Sounds a bit Greek as well. Nerdporeal says to Nosferatu, you only consume blood and maybe a little human flesh, so I'm not surprised. Chicago pizza is delicious. Excuse me. What's that? Klaus Kinski grabbing some Isabelle Adjani Titi. That sounds fantastic. Oh, mate, Isabelle Adjani's in it. I'd forgotten about that. Woo! Woopah! Just saying. Klaus played the Hunchback in for a few dollars more. That's the one. Thank you. Pretty good. I think I'm going to squeeze another Gundam Crossfire stream tomorrow, but mainly... Oh, DJ Ronnie G, nice to see you. Thanks for dropping in, man. Appreciate it. And Stephen. Hail, Stephen Ransom's in the chat. How you doing? Yeah, it's an open stream. If you remember the Wolf Brothers and Sisters, you can get the link. If not, I'll drop it in... where are we? I'll drop it in the chat. Dog Vader, thank you. Like my tweet. Okay. Well, looks like nobody's coming on. Never mind. See if this works. I'll delete it later. There's a link. You're welcome, mate. You're welcome, Steve. Okay, Codenomics, you've not watched the final episode yet. Sorry. Sorry about that. It's not really spoilers, is it? You know it's been building up and building up. It's fantastic and it's surprising what happens. I'll just say that. No more from me. That show has not been getting much love at all. Been getting a lot of criticism from the usual channels. I think it's really good. It's so much better than season 2. The Boys, yeah, I've done The Boys. I was dipping in and out of that with Kenobi and then Stranger Things at the same time, and watching Stranger Things and The Boys after Kenobi. Unbelievable. The level is so different. Okay, we have some guests coming in. Stephen Ransom. And the Nerdporeal, the Admiral, the Admiral.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Doing great. How you doing?
Fantastic. I've been waffling
doing
for an
good.
hour about Japanese food and diners.
It's midnight here, so I think this is the first time ever on with Stephen Ransom. So I'm starstruck already.
I am too. Stephen rarely, comes on, so great to see you, Stephen. How are you doing?
Okay, now I'm on. I'm still trying to figure out how to juggle my pad and my phone, want to communicate with my headset at the same time, and whatever. Anyway, hello, gentlemen. How you doing?
Oh God, it's midnight, says Codenomics. Yes, it's midnight somewhere.
It's midnight here.
It's 2 p.m. here, Saturday in Japan. Have you
14
seen it, by the way?
hours in the future.
Have you guys seen Tokyo Diner, the Midnight Diner, any of that on Netflix? It's a hidden gem, mate. It's a hidden gem.
I'll have to find it and save it.
Recommend
I
it.
haven't seen anything on Netflix. I don't have a Netflix account anymore. It's pinching pennies. So my viewing is basically YouTube reactions to things. So, that's why Nerdporeal, when I come onto your show, I'm very, very silent in the chat because I haven't seen Orville, haven't seen Star Trek, I haven't seen Boys.
Well, I took a glimpse at the finale of the Strange New Worlds. They literally copied an original Star Trek episode. They copied the Romulan episode where they meet the Romulans for the first time, and they did it exactly the same way. They violated continuity big time. Even Star Trek Enterprise tried to avoid.
No way.
Yeah. So I put it on Twitter, and somebody responded saying, "Oh, they can do whatever they want. SNW is in its own universe," and I'm like, "No, it's not in its own universe. Until they say otherwise, it's still part of the original timeline. The prime timeline is the original timeline."
Nerdporeal, Nosferatu saying, "You've just come on to show off your perfect jawline." There we go.
Yeah, I got a round head. Yeah, I know. I got to lose weight.
You should bump the camera up just a couple of inches, Nerdporeal. Just a couple of inches so that it squares up with your face a little bit more instead of this "we're all your children" kind of angle that you got going on.
Well, this is as big as the camera can get. So, I mean, the camera is just sitting on my desk, and that's the.
I
only way
like
to get
the
my
angle.
face.
I've always liked the angle that you put on Nerdporeal. I'm looking up to you.
You'd have to raise it up.
Yeah, see, right now I'm holding it, like I'm doing a selfie. Hi. And plus, my room is a mess, so that too.
Yeah, well, I'm no one to talk. I'm a wobbling avatar, so who cares?
Who's your avatar supposed to be?
It's Vash from Trigun, but it's a very specific episode.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I always thought it was you, Stephen. I thought it was an anime version of you. This is how I picture you.
Well,
with
interestingly
the Band-Aid on as
enough,
well.
it's the original image from the show is flipped the other way. It's mirror flipped the other way. And I flipped it this way because I do have that color hair. I do wear scruff on my chin. And where the Band-Aid is, I do have a G.I. Joe 1966 G.I. Joe scar on my cheek. So that's why it's the avatar I currently use. It is the anime version of me. Vash is an anime version of me.
That's awesome.
Do you say peace and love?
You're
Peace
damn
and
right I
love.
do, man. If you could just push it to the level of the Buddha in your every single day life, be as joyous as possible, and then at the same time, be a wall of granite against the enemies that destroy your people. So, yeah,
Wow.
definitely.
Speaking of destroying your people, it's Woopah Troopah in the tea house.
Hey, I just,
How you doing, Whoops?
I'm doing good. I just downed a couple of ibuprofen with Baja Blast, so I'm going total chaotic mode right now.
Oh, Jesus. I thought you were going to say sake bombs. Sake
No,
bombs.
that would be one heck of a combo for my liver.
Notice,
Hey, Squeaka.
Notice, I have my back turned to Woopah.
Oh, say no more. Say no
Oh,
more.
is this how it's going to be, huh? You were my brother, Brian. I trusted you.
All right, now I'm respectful.
You're supposed to unite us, not divide us.
I should have known. I should have known Woopahs were taking over.
They are. They're everywhere. Unbelievable.
Gray, is it okay to ask you about what's the current environment in Japan right now, given the events that have occurred in the last 70 hours? Is it national news that the I don't want to bring it up specifically because I don't want to contaminate your channel or your stream or anything like that. But
Oh no.
you know,
no.
my heart
That's
goes
all right.
out to your country. You know, that's some rough political drama to go through. I don't know. What has the reaction been?
Well, as you can probably imagine, it's huge. It's all over the news, and people are still trying to work out exactly what happened. You know what I mean? I'm saying, but if it's I'm not saying anything about it. I just gotta say,
I
it's
heard
a
something.
terrible thing to happen. Terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I agree. I heard
yeah.
something funny though. They media outlets in like Greece and other parts of Europe put Hideo Kojima's face as the assassin.
Yes.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, Nosferatu let me know about that. Who's it? Memology did a video about it. Is it Hideo Kojima? Is he a brilliant game designer, creator?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid. Like, yeah.
Yeah. he was put
That's
on.
hysterical.
Wanted for the assassination. No.
I
Sorry,
mean,
I'm not making
I-
light of it, guys, by the way. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
No,
I'm not
I
laughing
don't want to either.
No.
Like I said. And I see you in the chat, Nosferatu. You behave yourself in the chat with those JFK references. So just behave yourself.
Jesus.
Don't get anybody in trouble.
I'm saying nothing. Nerdporeal, you know that Nosferatu loves you, really. He's getting paranoid now that he's upset you with his jawline comment. Too late for that. Squeaker,
okay.
how you doing? Squeaker in the house. Squeaker Mouse. Hey. Long time no see. I always try and get Squeaker to come on, but she's too shy. So anyway, guys, back to completely sidestepping that. Steven, sorry about that. It's all over the news, mate. Yeah, it's crazy. I will say that he's not that popular with a lot of people in Japan. He wasn't when he was in power either, so it was very divided for various reasons. But he was the most famous, I think, isn't he, overseas, because he was on for so long. He was in power for so long. So
Yeah, I remember a long time ago. This probably 4 or 5 years ago. I remember he did not condemn like the death marches that the Japanese army did during World War II. And it was actually, of all people, it was Hayao Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli that spoke out against him. He's like that whole thing was disgrace, and I'm disappointed in our prime minister, Shinzo Abe. So this came from Miyazaki himself.
Yeah.
That would be just terrifying if Miyazaki came out against you. It'd just be like, okay, I am so sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Look at Steven with the sarcasm. I thought it was only Nay who was the sarcasm expert.
I'm not even being
serious.
sarcastic.
I thought you'd be sarcastic.
Like Disney going up against Reagan or something like that. It'd just be like, well, I'm so sorry, Walter. I'm so sorry.
Oh man, Ghibli, Studio Ghibli, they're no Disney. The House of Mouse.
Well, you know, here in the United States, they actually at one point Disney did distribute Studio Ghibli movies.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good that was a pretty good break for Studio Ghibli. It really put it on the map for a lot of people, and the couple that was doing the ADR work was really invested. I mean, I've listened to a lot of their commentary tracks, and you could hear it in their voice that they were sentimentally attached to the material, that they weren't going to do it any wrong. There was all the language of respect and continuity and getting the right voices for the right characters. I mean, when they got Patrick Stewart to do the guy from, Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, it was just perfect casting across the board.
Oh, I didn't know that. No way.
He did. Patrick Stewart did a couple of dubs. He did that, and I know the other one that I know of is he was in Steam Boy. I think he was the grandpa in Steam Boy.
Yeah. I've only seen the Japanese version, so I haven't seen things dubbed. I'm so sorry, number one. I'm so sorry.
Oh God, whatever.
Poor Patrick. He's lost it.
I don't know.
He's lost
he really has
his power, his diction, his voice.
You know who hasn't lost it? That he's a decade older, Mr. Shatner.
Go on. Shatner's he's unbelievable, isn't he? He's he's immortal, right?
Well, I mean, I saw Wrath of Khan. I saw they did a screening of Wrath of Khan in Rosemont, and I went and saw it. And then right after the movie, he came on stage, and he was 80 at that point. I think he was 88 years old. He was just walking around like he was 60.
He looks really ganky whenever I see him.
Telling jokes and getting everybody to laugh and telling stories. And that he was doing that for like 2 hours. So there was 2 hours of the movie. Then there was 2 hours of him telling stories about just what he does outside of acting.
Wow,
it was funny. So, but going back, the Ghibli thing. There was one dub I didn't care for. I saw Castle in the Sky, and they had a young they casted James Vanderbeek as the young 12-year-old boy. I'm like, why James Vanderbeek of all people? It just didn't sound right.
If you line up the timelines, like Howl's Moving Castle is the example I'm thinking of off the top of my head. Christian Bale was doing ADR work at Warner Brothers for one of the Batman trilogy at the same time that they were casting for Howl's Moving Castle. And I think that is probably how a lot of these casting choices get made. It's like, who's nearby? They're both in the city at the same time. We don't have to house them. They already have their own housing. And that's how some of these casting choices get made. It's financial and logistic.
Mm-hmm. I see.
But Shatner going up into space and breaching the atmosphere for real just put him into God-tier superstar category.
That was fantastic. Me. That was absolutely...
God, how old is he? Jeez, Gray. I mean, you and I are like
90.
50-something or something. And it's like, he's ancient. He went up into space.
At 90.
Legendary.
Yeah, and what's funny was I watched him come down, and it seemed like Bezos and all of his buddies around, they were acting like frat boys. They were celebrating, and they just left Shatner by himself, and Shatner was just like completely awestruck at the vastness of space, the great void staring back at you. Okay, that might have been a little negative, but it's an experience. Like, it's an experience.
Yeah, that's what made it genuine for me. Was you could see that he was 11 years old again.
Yes,
he turned into a little boy. He was just like, wow. All those times I looked out the viewport, I really didn't understand. This is the same guy that in the Twilight Zone saw a crazy monster on the wing of a plane. Imagine if he had access to this experience, because he must have looked out that window and he's like, oh, there could be aliens outside that window as we speak. I mean, for real, like right there. So,
did you ever see the movie, the Twilight Zone, the movie? That version where John Lithgow played that same role, but this time the gremlin actually attacks him from outside and tries to pull him out of the plane. That was ridiculous.
I've not seen it in years. I always remember the opening to that with Dan Aykroyd in the car. Do you want to see something scary? God, that freaked me out when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Guys, can I just mention something Squeaker was talking about? Have you heard of this? The comment, Studio Ponok, P-O-N-O-C, is keeping up the Ghibli tradition. It's founded by the former lead producer of Ghibli, so I don't know them. Cool, I'll have to check that out.
I'm not
Thanks
familiar.
for that,
As long
Squeaker.
as they're doing the right job, I don't necessarily care who does it, as long as it's done properly.
Yeah.
Because that's a world treasure. We'll look back on that generations down the road and just be like, this man knew how to talk about green protection, about the protection of tradition and what it means to be committed to a society. Yeah, that's some important material in those shows.
I agree. Do you have a favorite? I know it's hard to choose one. Do you have a favorite Ghibli movie?
Yeah, I think mine would be Castle in the Sky, same as Critical Drinker. It's because a lot of the Castle in the Sky they used in video games. I mean, the Sonic, this Zone and Sonic and Knuckles Sky Sanctuary is based off of the Laputa city. Zelda, I mean, a lot of Zelda ideas have come from Ghibli works, but the Sky Temple in Twilight Princess is based off of Laputa's floating castle too. So I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, I think it's one of the most. It's one of the most influential.
Nerdporeal Jake D saying no one stops to appreciate things anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean the Bezos and them were like ignoring him while he was just like they just kind of left him alone, and he was talking to a reporter saying, I can't believe what I saw. And it's just, and I wasn't the only one that saw this. A lot of people saw this and like, okay, well, Bezos is typical,
Yeah, they reveal themselves when they do stuff like that. Yeah,
absolutely.
So Woopah, you got to chime in with the Ghibli. What's your? I'm curious to hear Woopah's.
Yeah, me too. Sorry, Woopah.
He doesn't watch Ghibli. Only thing he watches is baseball, sports, Pokemon, and maybe Star Wars and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I got Pokemon. I got like you said, baseball. Even though the Cardinals are not doing good right now. Then I got YouTube videos like this one. I have not watched pretty much any anime at all. So.
Oh really?
Except Pokemon.
Right.
Pokemon,
Okay.
Yeah. I can't really chime in, honestly. I was just enjoying the conversation.
Oh, cool. My favorite Ghibli, and there's something about it that just makes it transcend everything else, is Howl's Moving Castle. And the specific sequence, spoiler alert, is when she meets him in the time distortion near the climax of the film. And you find out why he sees her, and that to me, it draws tears out of my eyes every single time I watch it. It's this issue I have with reality that we don't know what's going to happen next. So when you see a romantic time loop like that, for me, it becomes deeply emotional that he knew that she was coming the whole time. He remembered that moment in the timeline of his life, but she was witnessing it for the first time. So when he sees her as an old lady, he knows who that is. He does. It's the coolest thing about that show. And rewatchability for that particular movie is just so high for me. And I watch reactors react to it. I seek them out to watch their reactions to it, to see if all the tropes are still functioning properly and in the current vernacular and stuff. That's a very, very special movie. He openly admits that he's a coward, but he still wants to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And then she openly admits that she wishes he would go back to being a coward because now she's scared. And it's just so romantic. It kills me on the inside. It's so beautiful.
DJ Ronnie G seconding that. Stephen, Howl's Moving Castle was great. The animation on it is fantastic, and the character design so good, isn't it? For mine, guys, I don't know if you can probably guess it. I'll give you the Japanese title: Sen to Chihiro no Kamikakushi. How about that? Guess which one it is. Sen Toshihiro no Kamikakushi. Let me share it. Oh, no takers on the guess. Okay.
That's not Totoro, is it?
Spirited Away.
Oh, okay. That's
Good
a long
grief.
name for just Spirited Away.
I
Yeah,
know,
is that
it's
like a Bugs
crazy
Bunny
name.
joke?
Ain't I
classic.
a stinker? It's funny. This is the first Ghibli movie I ever saw. We watched this when I was in high school for my film study class. When we were
Okay.
talking about anime. So yeah, this is very good movie. This is lots of themes going on in this. The music, what's his name, Joe Hisaishi's score. I mean, he's practically if anime had a John Williams, Joe Hisaishi would be that.
Yeah.
Or
It's
something
just
along that
incredible.
line.
It's a crazy story, totally out there. It's basically about a monster's bathhouse, a giant onsen. And Chihiro gets lost and she's working there for a while. But some of the creature designs or whatever, they're just unbelievable. It's completely bonkers. It's the one where the girl's parents turn into pigs, if you remember, in the opening weird scene. Where they're just scoffing all this food. It really freaks you out. Sometimes it's amazing, it's stunning. Sometimes it's kind of creepy, it's scary. There's a nice Japanese atmosphere to it as well. And what is it with Miyazaki and his the giant nosed old lady kind of barsans that he always has in his movies? They're so cool, so distinctive.
Well, the visual language that happens in anime is something that I find more and more exciting as time moves on, because if you look back on the history of Japan, you'll see that grandma character with the big nose might be half-breed European, that she might be Christian, and that's what
Stephen,
makes her a
this goes back
contaminated character.
It goes back to if you heard of the Tengu, the Japanese mountain goblin, which is supposed to be master swordsman. They have huge noses, very phallic design and symbol. And they were apparently based on foreigners coming into Japan as well. I don't know why they went with these sword masters for that, but
because they brought Spanish steel. They brought Spanish steel, and they may have brought it at a time where Japan was still not really nailing down their metallurgy. That they were bringing in something very, very new. There's a character in there's a couple of different animes. I forget actually which one it is anymore, but there was a Spaniard that has been caricaturized or made a caricature of a Spaniard religious leader. And he's almost a joke, and he appears throughout anime as this almost Harlequin kind of comical character, but he's monstrously violent. He wipes out whole tribes because they're in his way, and this all happens through the port of Nagasaki. But in Samurai Champloo, the father that she is seeking, the father who smells like sunflowers, was a leader of a Christian group.
Look at you with the knowledge, man.
Well, this is what I get into. This is why I love anime. It's because it's historically adjacent. It's not always saying, the Miyazaki film about the developer of the Japanese Zero. Far and Away. What the hell is it called? It's something in the air. Anyway, it's literally about the Mitsubishi developing the Japanese Zero, and it deals with direct lines of history, and it's not bashful about it at all. And they didn't have aluminum, and they would use oxen to drag the experimental vehicle onto the runway, and it's we don't seem to do this with our own history, certainly not with our own mythology. So many animes like Spirited Away introduced the West to this idea of multiple spiritual beings, and that none of them were evil, that all of them were different shades of gray, none were black and white.
Stephen with the knowledge, fantastic, mate, fantastic. Don't stop. Yeah, it is. You're right. It's fascinating. Fascinating the spiritual side to a lot of these movies, anime. It's very different, isn't it? We don't really get that as much in the West, or they kind of shy away from it, don't they? Almost as if it's taboo to talk about. Where are we?
Thank you, Nosferatu.
That's the crazy lady. Where's the... I'm trying to find the comment. What was he saying about Stephen? There we go. Stephen, you rule for talking about Samurai Champloo. She's on the trail of a man who smells of sunflowers.
That's a great show. Same person that did Cowboy Bebop. Watanabe.
Yep. It's funny how that show actually transports itself through time, because there's an episode in there where everybody gets stoned, and it's actually talking about a historical moment in the late 60s where an army base was terrorized by some local hippies, and it parallels into... Did I lose you guys? Oh, no, we're still there. Yeah, that episode actually is from the 1960s, as opposed to like whatever Champloo is supposed to take place in, what, the 1760s or the 1780s? I don't even remember now. But I love that Japan does not shy away from talking about its own history. And it does it in such crazy ways. I'm sure that there's a parallel in Castle in the Sky too. It's so awesome.
Jake D saying it's called The Wind Rises, the English title. I can't remember the Japanese title, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a good movie. Controversial. One of the headlines there was saying controversial final movie, Miyazaki.
That's not. What's funny is he retired after that, but then he came out of retirement to work on like a completely solo project that's probably going to take him another decade to finish. It's based on a book.
Hope he gets to finish.
Yeah, it's something he's doing like by himself, so it's going to be like years before it's done. But it's based off of a book that he wants to leave for his like grandson or something. So it's interesting. But there's a question that Nosferatu asked a while ago, since we're talking about Ghibli. He says, Nerdporeal, did you ever play Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch? I can say, Nosferatu, that I did. And you know who I think would like it? I think the guy below me would like it too, because you capture monsters and they fight for you.
Hey, we don't capture monsters here. We
and they become your friends, and they fight with swords, and they bite and everything.
We are liberating the Pokemon from the oppressive Pokeball ways.
They are the monsters.
But yeah, the basis of that game, Ni no Kuni, it's about a young boy who is very big into tech. He wants to, he's like building like a hot rod or something like that.
Yeah.
And something happens to his mother. His mother dies. His mother tries to save his life, and she ends up dying in the process because she was sick. And he goes on this adventure to try and save his mother, bring his mother back. And it's a very, very touching story. And heck, let's just say the version I played, I got the PS3 version. The original story there was an addition to the original story. So I beat the original story version, the villain in that. But then after that, it got so freaking hard I couldn't beat the final boss. So I watched how it ends on YouTube, and it wasn't much. It didn't have much of an epilogue. So I feel like I didn't totally complete it, but I completed the main story. So, but it's a beautiful game, and I love the artwork and Joe Hisaishi's music. Wow, when you're in the overworld and you're running in the overworld, it's one of the best. It's like I felt like I was watching a movie.
Wow. Recommendation, or high recommendation indeed from Nerdporeal. As Nosferatu was just saying, this is why Nerdporeal fucking rules. There we go. Charlie the Unicorn, nice to see you. How much anime is impacted by traditional live-action movies from the 50s, 60s and 70s? I don't know. It's a tricky question. There's just so much out there. It's unfathomable almost, isn't it? It's just, there's too much to take in. But I think Codenomics was saying Cowboy Bebop is the reason he got into anime or gave it a chance. For me, it was Akira, the original Akira movie. I remember seeing that in like an art house cinema in Manchester in the UK, and it just blew my mind. It's like, what the hell is this? It's amazing.
Especially when a character turns into a big blubbering baby, a big giant blubbering baby.
It's just so Japanese. It's so out there. I didn't know what was going on.
There's a whole set of lore about the baby. If you look into most Asian, and I apologize for the term Asian. I know that there's some problematic issues with that term, but in a lot of the far east of the continent of Asia, there is this baby that is almost a parallel spiritually to our baby New Year, and that has to do with a new age coming into existence. So when he transforms into a giant baby because of this new Akira power he's discovered, it's the story. Akira is literally saying something to the population of Japan with that moment, that this is something new, it's something dangerous, it's something like an infant will tear the whole city apart, almost like a Godzilla event. And anime does this with their own mythology all the time, and I love them for it. I just came off of Blaine's Escape Corner, so I'm totally in my stream prime right now. I've already been streaming for 3 hours. So.
Oh wow! Oh, Stephen, mate, thanks for coming on. And this goes to same for all of you. Like, don't worry about staying. You can leave whenever you like, but you're welcome to stay. It's great having you here, and I love getting these chats going. We learn so much.
I love it. But I wanted to talk about that question about live action influences. You can easily see, if you go through the catalog of anime and just pick a decade, you could find at least a half dozen properties that are Star Wars adjacent, Star Trek adjacent, pirate movie adjacent, or they're talking about, my perfect example is Captain Harlock is a Japanese commander in a ship, and the West has come in to lay the final laws down and make Japan join a global marketplace. So the blue characters are us, the Westerners. And he's reluctant to come into port, the port being Japan, but in the storyline, it's Earth. So there's the Herlock show is actually a discussion about Japan trying to keep itself Japan, but allowing itself to join this new union of sorts. And anime does this constantly. You look through the history and you could easily parallel these things. It's my favorite part. Also, a lot of those TV shows from the 60s were still dealing with areas that were still bombed out from World War II.
This is true. Yeah.
So they were able to film in these cataclysmic environments that for free. They didn't have to build a set. They just rolled camera, here's a destroyed neighborhood, here's a destroyed cityscape, no problem. And they can't do it anymore because those things don't exist anymore. They've rebuilt the city. So a lot of that 60s stuff was legit, and the mob probably took advantage of it.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
Codenomics is God. I love cyberpunk anime so much. There's one of my favorite cyberpunk anime is the original Bubblegum Crisis OVA.
Ooh,
yeah,
Bubblegum Crisis. That takes me back, man.
I love all 8 of the soundtracks. I have them on my playlist and everything. So, but it's such an awesome. It's so awesome. It's so
Nerdporeal,
detailed.
What got you into it? What was your gateway then that pulled you into anime?
I want to make a retrospective about that because it's complicated. So when I was 4 or 5 years old, we used to go to this place called the Video Store where they used to have these cartridges called VHSs.
I remember those.
But sometimes they had beta. Sometimes they had beta alongside VHS. Well,
right.
There was so I used to go look at the kids aisle. I was either the NES aisle or the kids aisle. So I looked at the kids aisle because I was into cartoons as a kid. Anything animated I loved. That's just how it was. So there was this one anime movie that I rented as a 4-year-old or 5-year-old. It was called Unico, which was a Tezuka. It is a Tezuka work. Osamu Tezuka, the guy that pretty much became, godfather of manga.
Yeah.
And yeah, Unico is just like, it's about a very young unicorn that just brings good luck to wherever he goes, and the gods are jealous. So he's always on the run. So every time an episode happens, he completes his story. The wind, the lady of the winds picks him up and takes him to another land to stay one step ahead of the gods. So but that was a lot. I was too young to remember that. So I think for me it was Sailor Moon, the original Sailor Moon, because the dub used to be on in the mid '90s. So I got really into Sailor Moon. It was so violent compared to anything else I watched, and that included Power Rangers.
No way.
Yeah.
We never got that Nerdporeal in the UK. I don't know why, we just didn't get it.
It was one of the earliest stories that actually had like a definitive ending. Like it had a definitive ending, or at least it ended like an arc. So like whenever, because I got used to watching, cartoons or Power Rangers where the villains always, live to fight another day. They actually resolved stuff with the villains. They resolved the conflict with the villains in the show. It was the first time I've ever seen something like that, and it blew my mind. Yeah. Now kids nowadays, it's like whatever. But like for me, it was like it was a big deal. So and then I saw Dragon Ball, and then I met my buddy when I was a senior in high school, and then he showed me Gundam, original Mobile Suit Gundam, and then Yoshiyuki Tomino, and I saw that, and this was the first time I ever seen a loved one get killed on screen, and then one of the main characters cries out loud. That blew my mind too.
Steven, how about you? What
my gateway was the original Godzilla movies.
Oh, okay.
That's really where I started. So once I discovered that there was animation coming out of Japan, that was it. I was completely on board. I was an illustrator, a little boy illustrator at the time. So learning my nuts and bolts of how to put down the human form. So when I saw Gatchaman or G-Force or Battle of the Planets,
that was me. Yeah, I got into that.
Blew my mind because we didn't have a G.I. Joe animated series. That didn't happen yet. That hadn't happened yet. So to see these action heroes going up against these villains and crazy transforming spaceships, and it was a Godzilla movie, but at the same time it was a sci-fi super cop show. It was so good. It was so good.
It was basically, and it precedes Super Sentai, because Super Sentai is basically 5 heroes that fight, crazy villains that have, people in rubber suit fighting people in rubber suits that become, God's kaiju. They grow to kaiju height, and then they fight with, robots or mech or whatever. And Gatchaman was like, it came out even before the very first Go Ranger series, which was the first Super Sentai. And I saw Gatchaman a few years ago, and something that even Sentai never really addressed. Gatchaman shows the implications of being always dependent on to save the world. I mean, can you ask yourself, what toll does that take? Especially, these are kids. These are kids who are like 17, 18, 19 years old. That's one thing that the show, I thought that's what really impressed me about this original show, is that the main character, Ken, I think his name's Ken, actually talks back to the person that they report to. I forget his name, Professor or something. And he's like, you can't keep asking us to do this all the time. Even we have our limits. And it just once again showed that these characters, even though they're heroes and they're extraordinary, they're still human. And I found that very compelling.
For me, it was called, like you were saying, it was called Battle of the Planets. In the UK, it was heavily censored. They cut out a lot of the action scene because it was very graphic, very violent, very action-heavy series, Gatchaman. Yeah. And I remember that they added a weird kind of R2-D2 style little cute robotic character for the UK censored version. Did you see that at all?
And a band too, right? They had like a band, those band moments, which was like, oh my God, this is so Scooby-Doo. Please stop.
And it had nothing to do with the series. It just added it. Exactly. They just edited that in.
So when I saw the original, when I got over here and saw like Gatchaman, I was like, no way, this is amazing. I mean, it still holds up. The action scenes, like the space battles and stuff, they're fantastic.
Oh yeah. And like, and you want to know what's funny? This is the earliest case, or one of the earliest cases of a character being trans. Believe it or not, the main villain of Gatchaman, the main villain, Katse, is trans.
It's a trans character.
It's a trans character.
Well, there's something about that alien that what they call what in Pulp Fiction they call, not in Pulp Fiction the movie, but in Pulp Fiction detective stories, someone who has lizard lips. That reptilian kind of character. Actually, in there was a feature film that came out not too long ago, and this salesperson who's trying to influence the economy of Japan comes in, and they call him an alien, right? He looks like a vampire character. He's from Germany, and he looks like a vampire. He's got thin red lips. He's got very angled almond-shaped eyes, and you're absolutely right. In the show, he's literally from another planet, but he has no gender. It's like he's both. He's neither.
I don't remember if he was from another. He's human. He was human. I don't think he was from another planet. His master, Sosai X, Leader X, is from another planet. But I think he was just simply, maybe he was modified to be able to switch between male and female. Because throughout the show, like he takes many disguises, kind of like Roland Hand from Mission Impossible. Like he'll be a woman. He'll be a woman in one episode, then he'll be a dude in another episode. Then just takes off the mask and I'm Bert Kotz. Remember, I'm gonna beat you, got you, something like that. But I liked the villains in this. Like there was always good points where the heroes were losing, and I got more invested as from each passing episode. Now the thing was, I think that the series was too long. It was 110 episodes, or 105. It was roughly in that ballpark.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever seen the original Japanese aired series all the way through. I just never got around to like watching it completely. But I wanted to point out something that I've noticed. Gray, you talk about, I'm bringing the knowledge, but let's go back to that team shot. And I want to point out something for everybody that you might find. This is what I'm specifically talking about. There was a time period in the 60s and 70s where the police force, represented by our leader of the team in white and blue, he's a police officer, right? So just imagine you peel away the superhero costumes and you put them into their traditional Japanese dress. The leader of the team is law enforcement in modern Japan. Standing next to him is Princess. And Princess, in a traditional sense, would be the girl in the red kimono who lives at the shrine.
Yeah.
Right? Standing next to her is Tiny, and he is the either the Southern Islander Japanese that is the traditionalist. You don't live if you don't work. We survive by surviving together. He's the woodsman, right? He's the earth element. And standing next to him is the relationship between the police officer and the mafia. He is a killer. He doesn't give a shit about the law, right? Jason, I think was his name in the American series. I just can't figure out what Keop is supposed to be. That one still holds me for a little bit of a, but I'm sure somebody who understands Japanese history better would be able to tell me directly, like exactly who that character is. But each one of them represents basically a cardboard cutout of a section of Japanese society, and the five of them working together create a blazing, truth to fight and defend Japan forever.
Wow, that was a cool deep dive, Stephen. Very impressive. I don't know how this is looking on YouTube, but I'm having some problems with a connection at the moment, the internet, so I hope it's okay for you out there. I hope you can still hear us and see us. But yeah, gotcha, man. Woopah, can I ask you, if you're still there, mate? Woopah, what anime caught your eye when you were younger? Is it just from Pokemon, or is it the more?
I mean, it was mostly Pokemon. I did
Yeah.
watch a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh. I remember that. I liked the card game as well, but I know a lot of it was. I think I'll say two things. Pokemon was obviously like by no means like pushing the boundaries of humor. Like it wasn't, it was not like Shrek or something where it's like, wow, we're letting kids watch this.
Yeah.
But it was. I know when I think of all the shows that I watched as a kid, they're like Teletubbies, Barney, Sesame Street, that kind of stuff. It was, I was very little. I think Pokemon, the TV show, came to America when I was 2 or 3. But it was very. Those kinds of things are weird at best, but very tame. Like I still look back and like, how did I watch Teletubbies? That's some what someone saw on acid and was like, let's make a kid show out of this.
Yeah.
But like Pokemon was very
Crazy.
For a 2 or 3-year-old. It's very different than what I had experienced in that. They have the character who, Brock, who always, every woman that he sees, he falls in love with. And, I didn't have that with other shows where you had, there were quite a few funny jabs at women and such, which, just jokes, but it's just stuff like that. It's like, I didn't have any humor like that. So I'm watching, I'm like, wow, this is hilarious. And It's still very kid friendly. But another thing that really hit me was the first movie. I don't know if you ever watched that, but I need to rewatch it, and I want to do a review sometime on my channel. But it's a very it was a very serious show for everything. There's Pokemon getting beat up like seriously bad. Ash essentially dies at one point, and it's like, dang, this is serious. Like it's a very serious movie, and it's because they didn't make that just for kids. They made it for kids and anyone of any age, and there were serious stakes in that.
Right.
Did you say steak?
Yes, stakes. But it was very good in that whole regard, and it was something as a kids movie that's like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to interview you, Woopah, about this because I was so much older at that point that Pokemon was another anime, and I appreciated that it was still anime, like I liked anime. But for you to experience it as the new thing in your life, coming out of Sesame Street level, I'm really curious. I mean, what was like? What really hooked you up? I mean, what really drove it for you?
I mean, the humor was really good. Like, I again, like I know it's not groundbreaking, but for kids shows, at least at the time, you didn't get a lot of those. And even still later on, you didn't get a lot of those shows unless you were talking about something that was like you get a lot of good humor in some kids shows, but a lot of it was more adult, stuff that was very funny, but maybe pushed the boundaries a bit. Or like, I really like this kind of humor, but you get a lot of dumb humor, which is my favorite type. I'm not saying that's bad. It's just
I'm a big fan of dumb humor. I practice it all the time.
It's the best.
It's honestly my favorite.
Sorry, Woopah. Zaxx just dropped in. I was just going to say, like, I'm going to probably wrap things up soon, guys. It's later. You're looking tired, but then beep, Zaxx arrives.
Hello.
We can't stop now.
Wow.
Hello, Zaxx.
How's it going, guys?
Can't believe I'm online with you. It's insane.
Isn't it? I can't believe it either. Wow.
That's a trip.
How's it going?
Good. How was Elvis? Should I go and see it? Is it worth seeing on the big screen? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. It's kind of like what everyone else has said. The performances are great. Like the acting is spot on.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a story we already know how it ends, so no surprise there. But Tom Hanks as Tom Parker, that was something else.
Is he a bit too over the top? Does he take over the movie or?
No, he doesn't. He's perfect.
He's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen him as a villain before, but he played it well. He might be a villain in real life, I've heard, but
I was just going to say, he beat me to it.
Yeah.
Who knows anymore?
Yeah, that's right.
Allegedly. Just saying.
Allegedly,
yeah. Allegedly, he fled to Greece. Yeah. So I would say check it out. I mean, in the theater, it's important for the sound more so because it's
for the live scenes, the live concert scenes.
And if you like Baz Luhrmann stuff, then you'll like this. And he's kind of hit or miss for me, but this one was pretty good. Yeah. The guy who did Elvis was great. Don't know who he was. And the guy who played Billy in Stranger Things was in this too.
Really?
Billy. Yeah.
Ooh.
Austin Butler from Shannara Chronicles was Elvis.
Is that what he's from?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He played Tex Watson. I'm here to do the devil's business.
Oh, that one. Guy. I saw him in an interview today on Japanese TV, and he looked completely different in real life. It was like, no way, he plays Elvis.
Yeah, he does it well too. Lots of zoom in shots of his package too. If you guys are interested in that, no shortage of that.
Well, now I'd have to see the movie.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks.
Check it out. You guys were talking anime though. I interrupted your anime talk.
How about you, Zaxx? I don't know if you got into it when you were younger. Was there any kind of anime series that caught your attention when you were young, when you were growing up?
Well, my first introduction was probably I would say Akira, Ghost in the Shell, the classic stuff. Because here it was whatever you could get.
Same in the UK.
Japanese import store, and whatever VHS tapes they got in was the ones we could buy.
Right.
And a buddy of mine was big into it, so he would always buy them, and then I'd dub them and watch them. But yeah, whatever you can get, but it's mostly mainstream stuff. And then I watched whatever, Cowboy Bebop, of course, and one called Blue Gender, which is still weird to me. That's a pretty
that's out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that one because it was I think it was the monsters looked like vaginas, and so that sticks with you with teeth.
There's to Gray. It's humanity is using their mechanical ingenuity to make weaponry to face up against a species of plant life that might be alien, might be some sort of bizarre evolutionary bizarreness, and the plants and the creatures that these plants generate are just hyper violent. There's a lot of blood spray and people getting crushed to death, and combat circumstances are just off the hook. So yeah, I know the show you're talking about, Zaxx. And
it's
to me, it's
dire.
never. It's crazy dire.
I think it was on Adult Swim, if I'm not mistaken. That's probably where I got it from.
Too.
Yeah.
Adult Swim.
Back in the day.
Swim.
Adult Swim. Adult Swim. I'm Canadian. Yeah.
Canadian.
No doo doo boo.
Great maple curtain.
Oh yeah, there we go. Blue Gender.
Yeah. I have not seen this one.
It's out there.
It's worth.
That does look like a vagina.
So this is supposed to be. So this is supposed to be like an action horror.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's like Robotech, but with really horrible circumstances, hyper violent.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a rough one, and it was they picked off main characters too, so it was one of those ones where you have to really pay attention. And I was into it at the time, so it does stick out. Otherwise,
oh my god, like this picture here.
Yeah, I wasn't joking. That's what it looks like. Look at that.
Jesus.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Can I show this? Oh, okay, I do.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Wow.
After Zax's stream yesterday, I don't know. I don't know what the rules and regulations are anymore. I have some theories, by the way, Zax, as to what was going on yesterday. But
what's your theory?
my theory is that there had just been an assassination at the same time Thor was just being released, and they may have dialed up the copyright sensitivity to keep things under wraps because Disney may have paid for a protection or something. I mean, I'm just theorizing. I'm just spitballing here. But that kind of stuff, when stuff like that happens, it's more than likely like an algorithm glitch that they just dialed it up too high. You know, like when you dial up StreamYards too high, all of a sudden your chat can't even function.
Right.
Yeah.
That could be. And then Pop Culture Minefield this morning, Gary kept getting taken down as well. And at one point he was showing like a still photo of James Caan, and his stream went dead. So we're probably right about that. They cranked up the settings. It must be that's what it was. I'm prepared for like to take stuff out of my stream after the fact, but I've never. Some of that stuff was like they're taking me down for stuff from 20 years ago.
It was way too sensitive. It was way too sensitive. It could just be that it had to do more with copyright in general and not specific to your stream.
Right.
And it was just anything that has metadata regarding a specific copyright set, and it accumulates, and just like, you know, a health bar on a video game, it's just like bump, shutting you off. And that health bar goes down, and then bump, shutting you off. We're dealing with algorithms. We're dealing with people that turn dials, and these algorithms just run free. And so,
were you showing trailers, Zaxx? Were you covering trailers at the time? Because they've got really strict. I mean, I'm not just talking about the Amazon one, Rings of Power, but they've gone really strict over trailers. And anime is a nightmare. If you show any anime, Jesus.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I did show a trailer that got me taken down, but also I showed a clip from Office Space, and that got me taken down.
No way.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. And the other
I think
one
what
was
Stephen was saying,
Deadpool.
probably. Yeah, Stephen, you're probably right.
Oh yeah,
just imagine.
Just went nuts.
I just imagine getting the clip with Office Space taken down. That's it. That's the last straw.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, your channel is going down because you showed Office Space. Like, what?
Right. Weird. The Ninja Scroll was one too. Ninja Scroll was a classic as well.
Oh, yeah. Ninja Scroll, brilliant.
That was like a gateway into the next age of anime, that show. I mean, God, just that one fight between Junpei and the Stone guy was like, wow, I can't believe what I just witnessed.
Yes.
The action was so clean.
Have any of you seen, I can't even say this name, and I live in Japan, I can speak Japanese, Urutsuka Doji, Legend of the Overfiend. It blew my mind when I saw it. It's tentacle hentai, just gone insane.
You know what? I may have seen that back in the day. So
I'll try and find the proper title of it, because I can't even say it. But yeah, crazy title, crazy anime.
But there was one show. What is it called? Wicked City. That really.
Wicked. Yes.
That the cop with his gun, and he's just a big bruiser of a guy, and he's going up against these insane Yakuza demon forces, and it's, whew, boy, what a film. Jesus, so good.
One of my first serious job, I was working with some kids who had special needs, and this one kid, he made me watch all of Evangelion with him. And it was a good experience, but like, man, there's a lot of Evangelion out there to watch.
Oh yeah, it's a very confusing series. When I first saw it, I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I've watched it, I've rewatched it like several times, and I still barely understand it. So, and it's confusing because they ended it, then they came out with an alternate ending because fans got pissed about it. Yeah. Because they ran out of budget in the original anime show. And now, within the last 2 decades, they were working on Rebuild of Evangelion, which is another reboot in the form of 4 movies as opposed to a TV series. And it took him 2 decades to finish it. Like he was supposed to be 4 movies. Hideaki Anno, the creator of Evangelion, did 3 of them, and then he stopped because he got depressed and he worked on Shin Godzilla, pissing everyone off. So the final film came out like 9 years after the 3rd film.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Yep.
but who is still not finished his work after 11 years still? George. Finish your goddamn book.
For crying out loud.
There's an interesting comment here, guys, about what we're talking about from Awesome One. Thank you. They might be trying to crush review streamers as they are blaming YouTubers for the reasons that films and TV series are failing.
Blame themselves.
Yeah,
it's like I said, it's
Exactly.
Go ahead, Whoop.
Oh, I was gonna say, I know that's something that's been happening for a while, and I can't believe that they do that just because. I mean, first of all, if you're on the fence about something and then you get hit with this, like I'd be instantly like, well, screw you guys. But it's also just I know there's plenty of people that abuse the copyright rules, but like, how is a trailer not the most fair use of fair use things out there? It's literally an advertisement for you.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, like I've literally gotten a video taken down because I used footage from a trailer to do a review.
Me too.
So I'm like, what the hell? I mean, like, do you not want this out there? It's the sheer hubris of Hollywood, and that's why people are not liking Hollywood as much. Their attitude.
Yep, I've been lucky that I don't think they do that with a lot of game trailers, because I've done that with a few things, and I haven't got hit with anything yet, thankfully. But hopefully it stays that way.
You know, it's funny. Nosferatu's brought up a couple of stuff that I've liked. He's brought up Perfect Blue, the '90s Satoshi Kon anime thriller movie, which it's very psychological. I didn't realize how psychological it was until I watched it a second time. But yes, it's
his
not
whole
just
catalog is like that. I
mean,
can't think of a single one of his films that isn't like Millennium Actress and Tokyo Grandfathers, and it's like there's so much dilation of what is reality, what is not reality, who's fantasizing, who's narrating. That's his whole catalog is like that.
Yeah, Tokyo Godfathers was actually one of his more grounded, one of his more family friendly. It's basically a Christmas movie. And the best character, now there's 3 of them. There's a girl, they're all homeless. There's a girl, there's a dude, and then there's a trans woman. Right,
like a former host.
And what's funny is the trans woman was the most relatable and the most likable character of the 3. And
Absolutely.
The trans woman that saved the child's life. So
so good.
I mean, it's a great movie. And of course there's Paranoia Agent, the one series that he actually worked on. About a kid with a golden baseball bat that just beats up people who have issues. It's kind of like think of Saw. People with personal life issues with their personal lives, and so this kid comes along roller skating. Nobody knows who he is. He has this golden baseball bat, just bashes him in the head.
Yeah, and even that, if I remember correctly, you don't really know if the character is real or if it's a figment of everybody's imagination or what. I mean, the golden baseball bat makes him slightly supernatural, and the idea that he's a kid, the visual language in anime does that kind of stuff all the time, where the story is begging you to believe that this is an actual character. But you watch the show and you're like, I'm not sure that this is a real person or even a spiritual being at this point. It's like a living metaphor on screen sometimes. My brain goes nuts.
And of course, more famous work that was famously adapted into a movie called Inception was his movie Paprika.
Yeah.
Yep. Genius.
Going into people's dreams and stuff, same thing.
Oh, and it predates it by like 5 years, I think, too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
and I don't know if this is unpopular, but based on what I saw with Inception, I'm sure it probably did it better.
Yeah,
Inception
it
was
did.
pretty good. Inception was pretty good though. I really did like Inception.
I know a
Yeah.
lot of people like it, apparently enough that it's ranked number 13 all time on IMDb list. But I watched it and I'm like, well, that was a couple hours of my time.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry there was no Pokemon in there for you to, you know.
There was no
That's-
Pokemon. I would have rated it a 10 out of 10 if there was.
That's funny. I would give Paprika a watch, Woopah. I think you might be. It goes off the rails intellectually and visually. In the last 20 minutes of the movie, it's just completely off the rails. It's like I don't even know what's going on anymore. It's parade of manifestations out of people's dreams simultaneously marching down the street. It's like, what is going on? People become
That happens with
avatars.
a lot, doesn't it, Stephen? It happens with so much Japanese anime. You just like end up, what the hell is going on now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it goes completely full bolt Akira at the end there, where it's just like, what is happening anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate that he passed away. He passed away, I think he passed away around the same time Inception came out, to be honest, Satoshi Kon. And his next movie was going to be called Dreaming Machine. So he's going to take this concept even further. So it's just crazy.
Wow, that's weird. Because wasn't there a movie poster at the end of Paprika where he finally goes back to the movies and there's Dreaming Kids was the title of the film or something? And it was like in the anime. But that's really kind of almost creepy. But he's reached Elvis status because he died before he was finished with his catalog. That would be like Tarantino dying like 2 films ago.
Yeah, I was always wondering if someone else was going to finish, because he started working on the movie, and there was like the studio just couldn't finish his project, so it's permanent.
Yeah.
So it's permanently shelved as a result.
I think it should stay on the shelf because, and I'm using Spielberg's attempt at being Stanley Kubrick with iRobot. I think AI. That was a huge mistake. I think Spielberg just put too much Spielberg in it, and he should have let it. I think Kubrick would have done a much more fascinating story. Don't get me wrong; the film is magical in its own right, but.
No, you're right. I agree, 100%.
I thought Kubrick was only going to produce it, and then he would have Spielberg directed for him. That's what I thought was always going to be the case.
Yeah, but if Kubrick was alive, he would have been able to, as they say in the industry, hold Spielberg's reins, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay, I know exactly what you mean. So,
we're not talking about Mr. Hands again, are we?
No, we're not talking about Mr. Hands.
Zaxx, what are you talking about?
I'm just saying. Talking about holding him by the reins. Just checking.
Paprika 2006. Look at that. Wow.
I think the example I'm thinking of specifically is Truman Show. And in the commentary track, the director, and I'm losing his name, guy who played Richie Cunningham in Happy Days.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, there you go. He talks about holding on to Jim Carrey's reins for the whole production. He would let him do a half dozen takes without the camera rolling just to get the Jim Carrey out and then start filming.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So the director and, being able to hold your talent back because you know that they can go crazy. And I think Jim Carrey learned a lot on that picture about how to be an actor as opposed to a comedian.
Well, I've always heard he's kind of been a tough guy to work with. I mean, he's very talented, but it seems like he has made some enemies in that regard.
I need to see Man on the Moon, where he plays Andy Kaufman. I've heard like a ridiculous story about that production.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a interesting guy, I think.
Definitely
talented, but I never found him that funny, to be honest. I know we're not talking about comedians, but
me neither.
Yeah,
me neither. But I do think that he's a potent talent. It's Eternal Sun, Light of Sun, or whatever. It's a Sunshine of Being, or whatever. And the other one he did, 23. The number 23 is fascinating to watch. and Man on the Moon. Nerdporeal, you should definitely watch that. It's to me, it's the culmination of his career as an actor. Is that film? He goes full method.
Yeah, he
with
does.
with that film, and he becomes Andy Kaufman.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Oh, okay, guys, how we doing now? I'm going to wrap up the stream if that sounds good with you. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. This started as a stream about
Gray.
Midnight Diner, a fantastic series recommend on Tokyo Real, like soul, food for the soul series. And we end up talking about our favorite anime or our gateway anime. So that was really, really good. Great. So what should we do? Should we go around the horn, as we always say, and let people shout out the channels or whatever they're up to? Start with Stephen Ransom, the master streamer today, who's been streaming for 24 hours.
No, not about that long. But with the current clock, it's 6 hours almost now. So
wow.
Yeah, it's been fun. I just went from one channel to this one. But you can find me at the same name on Twitter and in YouTube chats. I'm not really doing much else at this point, but I'm going to lay on the line right here, throw down the gauntlet. Anybody needs me to do graphic arts, you can see some of my stuff on Twitter. Just go through my profile and check out some of the media that I've put out there. I love doing updates and collaging new ideas together from old material. So anybody needs me to do some work, did some stuff for Pops. I've done some stuff for Wakizashi's Teahouse and such. It's always fun. It's always fun. So if anybody needs a thumbnail, just pop me a DM. I'm wide open. I don't have any limitations on my Twitter account.
Your memes are outstanding.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Stephen. That's awesome. And I told you, like, my daughter loves that when you did of me, that Photoshop of me in the tea house. So thank you for that.
I'm so proud of that one. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Nerdporeal's next to Stephen. Nerdporeal, I just dropped your link in the chat. How are you doing and what are you up to next?
Yeah, so hey there. So my name is not actually the Admiral. That's just what I call myself because I need to validate myself. Right now what I'm working on is I'm working on a Better Call Saul review for the first half of the season. The new season, or the second half, is going to be starting on Monday, so I want to get this out there. So that's what I'm working on right now. And of course, I'm still writing my Zelda Ocarina of Time retrospective. That's my other major. That's going to be, hopefully that'll be my magnum opus of videos or retrospective. So so I'm working on that. And of course if you watch Better Call Saul or if you watch The Orville, I do after shows after they come out. So drop on by and drop me a line or give me a shout,
Thank you. I really appreciate you coming on there, Pro. I know it's very late for you at the moment, so thanks a lot, mate. I'll drop, say it's in the chat. Woopah, Troopah, how are you doing? And what are you up to next?
Well, hello. I'm Woopah Troopah. I mostly just doing a lot of streaming stuff. I need to work on some videos, but I'm slow. But I know I'm going to stream. I pretty much stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. But I'm going to be streaming tomorrow at 3 p.m. playing some of Guardians of the Galaxy. I got the game for Christmas and I played it initially, and then I stopped because I was having issues streaming from my Xbox. But everything seems to be back now, so after like a 5-month wait, I'm back playing it, and it's a really fun game. So I'm going to be playing through some of that. Tomorrow I guess today, technically now, at 3 p.m. And I've got Stardew Valley every Thursday. I'm doing a speed run of Pokemon Red on Wednesday, and I play Hearts of Iron 4 on Fridays. And that's all I've got right now. I'm trying to work on Trying to work on Pokemon Gen 1 retrospective. And I have
I was gonna ask, where is it? Where is it? I demand it.
It's still
waiting months for it.
It's still one paragraph written, so. But I have some game reviews I'm supposed to do too. One of a game I really enjoyed, one of a game that I really didn't enjoy. But Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's slow going. Videos, I'm realizing the videos are really hard to make. Like live streams, not that they're easy, but it's like, oh, I get everything set up. I turn on the camera. I go for a couple hours, and it's like, okay, I can rest now. Videos are like, oh man, I still got to do this. Holy cow!
If I can, before we jump into Zaxx, Woopah, if I could just toss a bit of warning with your Xbox, try to set up some sort of a fan blowing directly on the unit, and keeping that unit as cool as possible might assist you in any stream issues, because those Xboxes are just classic for having overheating problems.
Oh.
Yeah, that might help. I think it was just because my internet was acting up pretty badly for a while now, but seems to be going well. Famous last words maybe, but
Same here tonight. Mine was up and down. It was a bit weird. Okay, thanks for that. And we have the one and only Zaxx, who's flying. He's flying all the way to India. Zaxx, what have you got coming up?
Well, first for Woopah, listen, one of the things I found about making videos is it doesn't matter how much you like what you did or how much effort you put in. Sometimes like you work really hard on something you think is great and no one watches it. And don't let that get you down, because it just happens that way. And sometimes you fire something off in 15 minutes and everyone loves it. So you never know. Just do what you like to do. Yeah, so I found that. And working on a video right now about talking about the volume in stagecraft and sort of breaking it down and how it's really affecting storytelling in Disney, because they're choosing to use it for everything now. And then it's a big cost saver for them, but it kind of ruins the storytelling and really makes some of the shows ridiculous if you really break it down and you know what you're looking at. And Indian cinema stuff too, working on review and a basic update. So yeah, that's it.
Zaxx, thanks for coming on, mate. I know it was late again for you too, and it's kind of last minute, but yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. Zaxx, Woopah, the Admiral, I can't say it, Nerdporeal, and Stephen Ransom with the knowledge, man. Unbelievable. Fantastic. So what's left to say? Where are we? Should we drop a crazy little clip before we finish?
Yeah.
Something funny, something stupid. One more from Withno and I.
Ooh.
I'm like the one-man promotion for this movie.
I must have some booze. I demand to have some booze. I wouldn't drink that if I was you. Why not?
Because I don't advise it. Even the wankers on the site wouldn't drink that. That's worse than meth.
Nonsense. This is a far superior drink to meths.
That's crazy. Crazy. Okay, to the chat, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for your comments. You guys made it as usual. Sayonara means goodbye. It's like a final goodbye. No, it's not. It's not a final goodbye. Nay, don't worry. And we all hope to see you soon in a future video. So where are we? Where's the bye-bye? Wakizashi's Teahouse. Please subscribe.